Hello, I am William Jamal Wright,
And I'm Hattie.
and this is our podcast, HattieJo. What are we doing? And of course, in 2020, we are doing the entire year on emotions. And so this month, we are doing the emotions happy and sad. Um, so what comes? So what comes to mind when someone brings up the emotion happy or sad to you, Annie?
Well, usually.
Usually.
I mean, that's kind of an interesting question, but I'm a pretty empathetic person. So if someone brings up something happy, I'm happy for them. Right? Like something happy in their life or something happy that they notice. Or if someone brings up something sad in their life or something that makes them sad, I'm usually sad for them, right? Or like I can at least understand why that's making them sad. And so yeah, I wouldn't say that it really is like, unless it's someone very, very close to me, like of course I'm going to feel very sad if something happened to someone, but it's not going to make me necessarily sad unless it's someone very close to me. And likewise, if something good happens to someone else, I'm going to be very happy for them. But if I was already in some other like emotion, I wouldn't say it's going to change my emotion again unless it's someone really close to me. But like I'll still feel happy for them. But it's not like going to make, if I'm upset or something, that's not going to like instantly I'm like, great, I'm happy now because.
Well, I was more going at like what makes like, not what makes, but how do you feel? Like, how does happy make you feel? Because like that's happy. Yeah, but like,
as Ollie would say, there's a party in my heart with balloons. Like, so Ollie's our 5-year-old nephew, and he recently, he's my oldest brother Rob's first kid, and he said to his mom Sarah at some point, you know, he was too excited. So I guess excited is not happy, but I feel like there's only so many base emotions, and everything else is like a derivative of one of them. And I would say excited is more related to happy than it is to any of the other base emotions. But he was having trouble falling asleep at night, and so she was asking him, "What's going on? Are you like upset? Are you mad? Are you happy? You know, what's happening?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm just so excited. There's a party in my heart with balloons." And that was how he described it. So he's our little poet. But yeah. So do you mean in terms of like the physiological feeling, or?
Yeah, like just like the emotions that you feel when you're happy.
And I would say happy. I don't know.
You can't use the words to define.
Okay, so why don't we have you go first? How do you? Let's answer your own question.
So it's definitely like, because
you can tell whose idea this was.
Well, like,
I like this.
So just being happy, it's like, for me, it's an excitement, it's a joy. I feel like I have a smile on my face. I'm very much like content. I don't need like, in moments when I'm happy, like I don't look for anything else. I feel that just like that moment is good enough as it is.
Very mindful, like very in the moment.
Yeah. But also just like in terms of when I feel those feelings of happiness, of being happy, it takes me to like when I'm like with my friends or I'm with my family.
So are you saying being with your friends and family makes you happy, or when you are happy, it reminds you of times when you were with your family and friends? Or you said, when I'm happy, it takes me to times when I'm with my family or with my friends. And I'm trying to understand what you mean by that.
These, like, I'm explaining moments that I feel happy.
Okay, so you're saying being around your family makes you feel happy. Yes. Being around your close friends makes you feel happy.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. So that is, like, those, like, for me, that is what kind of, like, happiness is, and like the feeling and the emotion of being happy. Um, so yeah, is there, now that you had a second to think about it, is there anything that...
I would say, so I agree with you in being excited, but I don't necessarily, like when I feel excited, I usually feel happy, but I can also feel happy without feeling excited. But usually when I'm happy, I feel at peace and content no matter what is kind of going on. Like you, I normally have a smile on my face or just feel like I have a positive outlook on things. And usually I feel energized, like energized to go do all the things I want to do, or energized to make plans about the future. Or so it's, for me, happiness is often a mentally energetic state of being.
It's funny, like you talk about like being energizing and like making you want to make plans for like the future.
Yeah, or like work on plans I already have.
For me, it's like almost like the opposite. Like I don't like, I'm definitely energized, but I'm energized to like concentrate and focus on like what is going on then and there, and like the future has no bearings. Like, who cares about what's gonna happen tomorrow? Like, right now, like I'm hyperly focused on like the now, and like getting the most. Not necessarily getting the most, but enjoying that moment. Yeah. So like the future is like irrelevant to me.
Interesting. Like I will say, you know, being around my family or being around my close friends, I'm not like, oh, I'm energized to now go do all these things. It's usually, I do get energy from being around family and friends, but it's not in an energy to like go do things, like get things done way. It's an energy to interact with people and derive joy from participating in the interaction. But like a day like today, where we're not visiting family or friends, we're just hanging around the house, I would say I generally feel pretty happy today, and that has led me to have a positive outlook on things, like have the energy to go attack all the things I need to do or make plans about things I want to do. Whereas if I have a day that I'm not happy, then I usually feel a lot less energy, and getting through my to-do list feels like such a chore, you know, or I have to like really just make myself do stuff, or things happen and I already am in kind of a negative frame of mind, so I don't have a positive outlook on them, right? So I think that on a day-to-day type thing, happiness generally gives me peace and contentment, which frees up my mental energy to put it towards positive change. Yeah.
It's funny, like it's interesting you talk about this as kind of like on a day-to-day like happiness versus like the podcast today is happiness and sadness, so like happiness versus like sadness, and I would say like for me, like on a day-to-day basis, like I wouldn't classify days as like I'm happy today, like I feel sad today. Like I look at kind of the...
That's because you're more like every day just the same.
Yeah, and like it's not really... Every day
we both know this about you.
Yes, every day is pretty like even keel.
Even keel, yeah.
And I like... I don't feel like one day, I feel happy today, and that like gives me more energy. Or like one day I feel sad, and like that takes away my energy and like get things done. And that's just like it would like you speaking.
But that's just how you are, yeah.
Yeah, but you speaking on like how like your happiness brings you like energy to like get things done throughout like the day, and that like kind of state of mind. So do you feel like you have the control to like create your own happiness like on a given day?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
But not as effectively as I would like it to be. You know who's really good at that?
Who?
Rob, my older
Or-
brother. Like, even from a young age, my mom would even notice. And Rob has said it himself. He'd be like, oh yeah, I just wake up and I just choose to be happy that day. Like, why not? Why would I choose to be miserable? Like, it's like, sometimes things happen. Like, you know, like sometimes for whatever reason you're feeling angry or upset or, you know, just down or frustrated or, you know, like any millions of things you could be feeling. And he's just like, nope, it's a great day. Every day! Every day! He's very happy, I would say. Like I would say Rob is also even-keeled, like you are, but instead of, you know how you said I can't really say, like, today is especially happy or especially sad. Rob is just even-keeled at happy, where he would say, like, yep, today's especially happy. Like, great. So,
yeah, and
let's all strive to be more like Rob. But I do think what you described about even-keel is something that, like, I know about you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's, like, we kind of are a good balance for each other in that way, because I feel like when I was in high school, I had a lot more days where I was like Rob, but then there'd be like some
where
things
you could create your own happiness.
Yeah, but then there'd be some things, certain days where it wouldn't be that way, and maybe it's just me looking nostalgically with rose-colored glasses, right? Like I more as I say this, I'm like, is that really true? I don't know, but Amelia, over here, please, on your blanket. I would say, nope, on your blanket. Good girl. Okay, stay. Good girl. I would say some days, as long as I'm not. Actually, I think it is largely tied to my energy level, and so if I have a decent amount of energy, then I feel good and generally happy. But if I feel overtaxed or overwhelmed or too tired, like for consistent, like it's not just like a short, oh, I didn't sleep well last night, now it's a bad day. It's like a long, these long term,
multiple,
like energy lacking.
Day,
lacking in energy, and then that makes me feel much more like have negative outlooks or not be as happy. So for me, I think, and then that kind of does tie back to like in high school, like I've always had issues with sleeping and everything, but obviously that compounds over time, and there's less time for the compounding.
I would say for me, like, I don't know if I have the, like, capability to, like, create my own happiness. Or, no, I would, like, it's very, like...
Talk us through it.
It's, because there are times where I'm like, you know what, like, I could put on a certain playlist or, like, some music, and it will definitely, like, brighten my, like, I would say that, like, I look for, like, things to make me happy when I'm sad, right? So, like,
so on days that you're not, like, actively sad, you don't...
Yeah, so on days that I'm actively sad, I'm like, you know what, I need something to pick me up. And typically I'll, like, go and, like, get a workout or listen to some music. I would say those two things, like, really bring me back to my, like, my base level of, like, where I need to get out the funk. So, like, working out and listening to music typically work to get me out of that funk.
Nice.
And so, in terms of, like, creating my own happiness, I think...
So what does that mean to you? Because I could say, I feel like, sure, it's not like you could just sit there and use your, like, sheer force of will and change your mindset and change your emotion, but you still are choosing to go work out or choosing to listen to music. And so in a certain sense, like, that is you creating your own happiness because you're doing things that you know bring you happiness.
Yes. But, like, for the most part, it's only, like, I don't wake up on a given day and be like, on a just average day and be like, you know what, today I'm going to create some happiness. and I'm going to go out and like I'm gonna listen to some music and like I'm gonna go work out. Like I'm gonna just create my own happiness. Like I guess I don't. Maybe I should do that more. Um, but I don't wake up and think those thoughts. And yeah, so it'd be interesting to like actively like on a consistent basis like try and create my own like happiness. Um, Although like I feel like I'm
Pretty even
pretty even keel. So I don't know if I need to create that much happiness, but we're pretty happy, content with our life.
Yeah.
So what would you say about like sadness? Like,
well, one thing before we switch to sadness is something that, for me, you were talking about getting a workout, listening to music, things for me that uplift my spirits, no matter how frustrated I am, are like interacting with kids. Mm-hmm. So anytime, if that was babysitting, like I used to love babysitting and just hanging out with the kiddos, or at the gymnastics gym, right? It's one of the reasons I'm so grateful I've been able to be a coach while I was in grad school, is I could kind of have my escape at the gymnastics gym, and no matter how stressful or frustrating things were or how behind I felt or whatever, like I would kind of forget about it as soon as I'm in the gym and have a good day and feel positive about myself, and then leave the gym and be in a better state of mind to like think about and approach whatever else is going on. So I would say that's one thing, but like you, also getting a workout usually helps. Not always, but usually. Or doing some type of creative activity. But I do feel like there's a certain level of happiness or sadness where getting a workout, like a workout might be more effective than doing something creative in lifting my, or I guess what I'm trying to say is there's a certain threshold beyond which if I'm too sad, like I don't have the energy to scrapbook or do something creative. Mm-hmm. And same goes for getting a workout. But I think the threshold for too tired, too low energy for getting a workout is lower than it is for being creative. So if I'm too tired to be creative, I might still have some energy to do a workout. But if I'm too tired for a workout, it's like do anything creative. Yeah. And so those aren't like foolproof things, I guess. Yeah. So sadness. I think I don't feel like I generally feel a lot of sadness on the whole. Usually negative, if I'm feeling a negative emotion, it's usually frustration. And it's interesting to reflect on this because I'm really grateful for that, right? Like, there's not a lot of things in my life that are worth being sad about, right? Like, I feel like everybody in my family is in very good health for the most part. Mm. You know, like doing good things, being amazing people. I have great people to work with. You know, I'm not wanting for a home or food or things like that. But when I do feel things like frustration, it's generally because, like broadly, it's because my expectations don't match reality. But my reality is still good enough that it's not like I'm sad about the reality. I'm just irritated it wasn't something else. Mm-hmm. But I can see situations where, like, if things happened, I would be actively sad about the reality. Those things don't just happen that often, I would say. So I don't think I spend a lot of time being sad. But I spend a lot of time being frustrated or irritated or negative.
Gotcha. So when would you say the last time you were sad then?
Probably, like, I feel like I was very sad when my grandfather passed away. I feel like I was very sad when I took my leave of absence from grad school too, but I think that was also a lot of depression, which is different than just being sad.
Mm.
I think I was I was sad. Like, part of it was I don't feel like I have good self-efficacy. Like, I don't think that I'm not confident in myself. I'm not confident in my abilities. I'm not confident in, like, my ability to make positive changes in my life.
Mm.
And so there was a reality, and it was a sad reality. Like, I was sad about the reality that I was perceiving. Whereas I feel like now I get a lot of frustration about having to do certain things that I don't want to do or whatever, but it's not like...
I'm a little confused.
Yeah, okay.
It sounds like you're saying you don't get to it. I'm like, are you just saying that like you don't really get sad, you get more frustrated?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless it's things like a family member is dying, or
yeah,
you know, or someone is like had a car, like when tragic things happen, that makes me sad.
Mm.
Or if like when I go through breakups, like that makes me sad.
Mm. Gotcha.
But I don't feel like I spend a lot of time being sad in terms of like the proportion of time I spend in negative emotion. It's not very much being sad.
Okay.
How about for you?
Well, I would say like for me, I've like throughout my whole entire life, like I feel like I've experienced like a number of like sad events.
Mm-hmm.
And whether like other emotions were like added to them, like whether other emotions were attached to them, which I'm sure they were, like I feel like I've experienced a lot of sadness, and so like kind of my sadness meter has like readjusted, and that I probably don't like.
So you're saying you're like acclimated to a lot of sadness?
Well, like it just, I would just say that like, yes, I have my body, like my emotional intelligence has like acclimated to like sadness, and that like that is probably some of the reasons why like I'm so even keeled, and that like I still feel the emotion, but I don't want to let it like affect me like physically outwardly. And I just think it comes from like a multitude of experiences that like I either had while I was like a kid, or like growing up and like being in college, and now even like as I've started to like read more, and like read about like the history and like become more like empathetic to like people of color and minorities and the struggles that they have. Or even if you like look at like our like just like the election process, and like to me it just to me it's all really sad, and like nothing really is going to be accomplished just by like feeling sad. Like you got to get up and like you got to like go to work to make change. And so like I feel sadness, and I know like things make me sad, but like I try not to like dwell on it. I try to like become more educated on the situation, become like.
So you use it as a motivator to do something.
Yeah, I would hate to say like I use it as a motivator, because I don't want to like. I don't like seek out sadness to like create motivation.
No, I know, but I feel like you're saying the situation is as it is. It causes you sadness and as a result of that sadness, you try to educate yourself more or do these other things.
Yes, I would definitely like say that is the case.
So do you feel like in your daily life, let's say the past like 5 years that you experience a lot of sadness?
Definitely like in my readings, when I'm like reading books and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely would say that like it's weird because like on some point I'm trying to like educate myself, um, and like become more informed on like different subjects, different like points in history, different like time periods in American history. Like I'm trying to like educate myself on these things, and so like in reading these things, like I am becoming more informed, but they do like, and I am seeking them out, but they do make me like sad.
Yeah.
That like this is the like
State of the situation.
Yeah, state of the situation.
And I think that's I would say I have a similar, like when I read about things that are grossly unjust, or that I'm like, I can't believe human beings are treating other human beings this way, or things that are just on such a systemic large scale that it seems it seems overwhelming and despairing. Like that also makes me very sad. So I think that, my dad was always saying when we were growing up, like, the world isn't fair. And that's true, but that fact in and of itself is sad. And anytime I encounter that, right?
Yeah,
that there's a little bit of sadness that goes along with it. And even when it's like I encounter like the positive aspects of it in my life, but I still feel sadness because I'm like, this isn't necessarily how everyone's experience, and B, like I feel a little bit of guilt, like I didn't do anything to deserve this, right? And there are people that didn't do anything to deserve like the other side of the coin.
What do you mean? Like you feel guilt?
So, like I would say, like we were just talking about when you notice things that are unjust, right?
Mm.
Like I guess I don't really have a good example off the top of my head, but
well, what, like you were saying that like you feel
like,
guilt for the, like that's the situation that is at hand?
Yeah, like for instance, having parents that can pay for me to go to a really nice college.
Mm.
Like I earned admission to the college, so on some level I feel like I deserve to go there.
Mm.
But I could have, maybe not, but I feel that my parents could have been in a different financial state and I still could have earned admission, right? Maybe there's this financial state at which all these other things come into play. I'm not trying to open up a big can of worms where I couldn't have earned it, but I'm just saying, of my parents' financial situation, I think there's a pretty big range that they could have been in, that my life would have been such that I could still have earned admission to this nice university. But in that range are some cases where they wouldn't have been able to afford to send me. Mm-hmm. And so I feel very grateful and very lucky that, wow, my parents were able to pay for me to do this. Like, I feel so great. This is a situation where the world isn't fair, but I kind of got the better end of the deal. Mm-hmm. But it makes me feel sad for people that deserved it just as much as me, but they didn't have the situation where their parents could send them. And I feel a little bit of guilt about that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Just because I feel like there are things that I have received that are better than things other people receive, and I didn't earn it. That's where I feel guilty.
Gotcha.
If it's something I feel like I earned, then I'm like, I deserve this nice good thing, right? And like, but I recognize that there are a lot of things in life that have nothing to do with what you personally did or didn't do.
And we could definitely go on like a philosophical like journey here of like, so like the like environment that you came from, like, is that like something that like you deserved, or like that you worked for, like that you earned? And so there's a
right,
whole
right. There's a whole can of worms, and
so
I also feel like sure I
but,
earned admission to Duke University, but like there could be other situations going on in my life that I would have been just as smart, just like the same me, but would have resulted in me not earning admission.
Yeah,
right.
so
Like
yeah,
so that's,
right,
I'm not
yeah,
trying
right.
to go into
Yeah,
those
and
kind of
I
words.
think that like kind of getting back to like our sadness. So you talked about like when your grandfather passed away, like that brought up like sadness,
Mm-hmm.
and that makes me think of like when my grandmother Catherine passed away, and pretty like anytime I'm at a funeral of someone that like is a family member, like that always for some reason, or not for some reason, but like that obviously takes me to like a place of sadness.
Mm-hmm.
And like for me, I can't really think of like anything else that like takes me to the point of sadness where like I cry, and like that sadness is like a physical expression of tears.
Yeah, I'd say for me, when I cry for two reasons. One, because I'm letting out sadness and grief, or two, because I'm frustrated. But yeah. So, so you're saying there's only a few things like big tragedies that make you feel sad enough to cry.
Mm-hmm.
So, what would you say are other ways that happiness or sadness has shaped your life? You gave an instance of you feel that you're exposed to a lot of sad things throughout your development, and that has shaped your life in that you've been acclimatized to withstand more sadness. Like, are there other ways that has influenced the person you are today?
So just in terms of like happiness and sadness, I like, for me personally, I enjoy like I get happiness from like competing,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's like a big part of why I have enjoyed like playing sports all my life.
Mm-hmm.
Even
and
like,
do you get happiness from competing and winning, or do you get happiness from competing?
So I definitely want to win, but I definitely get happiness from just competing. Um, and I would say that like it sucks to lose. But I
sucks to lose.
And so like that for me, that's a part of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
The competition, like it's sucking to lose. That competition to like drive to like be your best, or like to have like two evenly matched like opponents going against each other. So like that competition has like made me happy, and it made me pursue things, whether it be in like middle school or high school, that like where competition was a part of it. One of my like I was in middle school, and one of my best friends at the time, Reggie, he got like straight A's in everything. Like he was rough around the edges, and like was involved in a lot of like extracurricular stuff that like probably shouldn't be involved in as a middle schooler, but like he was literally like one of the smartest kids in our school, and like I always like wanted to like, because he was my best friend, like I always wanted to compete with him to like get better grades, and like we would oftentimes be in class and I would just be like focusing on like I need to concentrate so I can get a better grade than him, and so
I need to concentrate.
So like it's like that the competition makes me happy. Yeah. So yeah, I would say those are camaraderie, like being around like my teammates, that and, like helping like young people. We always have like summer camps and stuff like that, for like the middle school kids. or we would do like a flag football tournament and have like the elementary kids come and play. And like you were talking earlier about like energizing you, like those type of like camps or like programs, like they always energized me and made me happy to be a part of them and work with the kids, and like it was definitely some good times and happy moments.
Yeah. So this is kind of a tangent, but not a tangent, but I forgot to also mention reading also makes me very happy usually. Like when I'm reading fiction, I just genuinely enjoy reading, and like reading to kids is something I enjoyed. Reading to myself is something I enjoy. So that's another thing that normally just came to me randomly.
All right, I think we're good here. Happiness, sadness. You know, I honestly like we're talking about like these emotions, but I hope this just like opens everyone up to be more in tuned, to start like thinking about like their emotions, because it can definitely like have a negative or positive effect on you if you're not like aware, and thinking about like how you react to things in your life that may be happening. So,
Well, and to your credit, I thought we had a really interesting discussion, which I did not necessarily expect to have. Well, I didn't have any expectation. I was like, I don't know what we're going to be talking about. Sadness, happiness, okay. But I think it was very interesting. My perception of you as being very even keel. It was interesting to hear that confirmed as your perception of yourself, right? And also, I thought it was interesting the difference in, if my energy levels are high, then basically the same situation, I'm happy. But if my energy levels are low, the same situation, I'm like frustrated, or upset. Whereas you seem to have a different, like what influences your emotional state is less about your energy state.
yes.
So learning about those differences was interesting too. So yeah.
So we encourage
Good
you
job.
to think of those things.
Yep, and that's what we're doing.
Deuces.